This is the fuel tank. The pilot sits on top of this kind of thing. I'm pretty sure you can't see much of that when it's finished, but it needs to set as that now, and then clean up all the seams, and then it can be painted. Probably paint it when it's connected to the rest of the fuselage though. Okay, this is the fuel tank. Let's clean it up a little bit. It shows fitting the fuel tank to this bulkhead first. Now I notice it doesn't fit in a way that I would feel comfortable just doing that. It goes like that. But you could actually get it in the wrong place. So I think it's better to glue the fuel tank on there first. Right, so okay, at this point I put in this is the stool for the rear passenger or whatever they are. These little things here are counterbalance weights to get the centre of gravity right for the aircraft. I've noticed a few people say, how can you put bombs at the back, it must be too heavy, but to put weights in there anyway, so I wonder if they take those weights out when it's carrying bombs or something, I don't know. Then again, if you drop the bombs, the weights will be off again. It's probably not that critical on this aircraft. It's probably quite a nose heavy aircraft anyway, so I don't know. Anyway, so what I want to do now, I want to get as much of this thing glued together before I paint it. So what I am going to do is get this fuselage side framework fitted to see how it goes, see how far I can get without having to paint it before I glue things. So okay, that's the basic framework all glued together. It's now a nice solid piece of structure, and what I've been doing with it, I'm just giving it a little tickle up with some sandpaper, it's only fine sandpaper, just to make it look a bit tidy. So I think it'll paint up quite nicely. Okay, I've gone a bit mad actually, because not mad. I'm always on a mission to glue as much stuff to things before I paint them. I've said this a lot, don't I? So I'm sorry about that, but I think it's important because you get a much better bond with all the parts, and I think you get a cleaner finish as well. Because as soon as you start adding glue to painted parts, things go horribly wrong. It's not a lot harder to work that way, I think. Now, just to confirm what you can see, I've put the gun rack in for the Model B, which is a colour scheme that's a bit more colourful. Just to show what you can't see at the back. You can't see anything at all. So the weight thing at the back and stuff, just don't bother doing it. You can if you want, but it's disappeared, it's gone. You can't see anything. You can see the bit in here that needs doing now. But I managed to glue every single part to that needs to be glued on there, apart from parts that are black, which is a bit on the side here and stuff. I can pick everything out with a brush afterwards, so all that assembly now can be painted cockpit green, which is the next job. I'm going to prime it first actually, and then I'll paint it cockpit green. Okay, I've sprayed it all. I give it a coat of primer, and then I've given it a coat of gloss silver, a lacquer product, a Tamiya one. The intention now is to give it some chipping fluid treatment, and I want to do a bit of weathering on the around this area, around these areas. Okay, I've given it a coat of green, cockpit green. It's quite a light coat as well, it's not a heavy coat. And I'm just going, I don't actually wet this, it's, I think because it's gloss underneath, it's not bonded very well to the gloss anyway, so it works quite well. I'm just scuffing around where the pilot and the gunner stroke navigator stroke whatever he does sits. Okay, a bit of progress. I think this is at the stage now where it can be fitted into the fuselage halves. I've picked out all the bits of black and stuff that needs to be done. I've fitted the seat for the dude at the back. I'm going to call him the dude at the back, so I don't know what it does. I don't know how this guy was held in. There's no seatbelts or anything. There must be a harness of some sort. I fitted the little balance weights in the tails. You can see those through a little glass window. You can't see these at all, so paint them if you want, but I don't think any point in that. I've weathered it accordingly, but and I've painted the rudder pedal silver and all that sort of business. Now it calls for this part to be painted flesh colour, which I'm assuming is to emulate canvas, because the aircraft is actually canvas from quite a lot of it's canvas from this point onwards. Sorry. So that's what I've done there. You can't see much of it when it's completed. Now the instrument panel, it shows to fit this before you put this fuselage together, but I'm not going to do that. And all it does, it just sits in that gap there, just like that. And then this arrangement goes at the front, and you can see behind it as well because it fits there. And what I am pointing out is the compass, which is part 40 on the plan, which is here. This thing here looks nothing like part 40 in the kit. It doesn't fit at all. So I really don't know what's gone on there. It shows it to fit underneath here. All the part that's on the picture, it would fit under there quite nicely, but this doesn't. And I've looked all through the kit and sprue and everything, and that bit doesn't exist that shows in the diagram. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I'll sort some out. I'll have a look at real ones and see what the compass looks like. But it's quite it sticks out quite a bit. You know, it shows. So it needs looking at. But I can now get these. I think that I've gone through most of it now. And I can join this together, so I always feel happier once the fuselage halves are together on a kit. So it's gone together really, really well. There's nothing about this that's difficult at all. As I would say, the way I've built it, I would say build all the structure in one piece and then just paint it, because it's much easier to do than try and do them individually. It did come with a decal for this, need a pointer of some sort. This is a table, like a map table or whatever table, put your sandwiches on it or something, I don't know. And it came with a little decal for a map. There's one for each different version of the kit. I put it on, it looks horrible. I just didn't like it, so I took it off. So, but you can see the canvas kind of colour inside there. I don't know if it's supposed to be like it in there, but I just sprayed everything there. I forgot to put I need to make sure I can get the ammunition boxes in there before I join the halves together. Other than that, it's ready to join up. Okay, I fitted the magazine boxes there. It was easier to fit them now, so I've done that. Right, putting the fuselage in, it's quite easy really. I've dry fitted this to death, so I know what I'm doing with it really. I used just glue because it doesn't go off as quick. Okay. Now these fuselage sites fit really well, so I'm quite happy to just do that and then let glue go into each seam. So that's what we'll do. Okay, the fuselage is all joined up now and the seams are sorted out and everything, so now it's things should progress quite quickly now. It calls for this part to be fitted on. Obviously the bottom of the fuselage and the undercarriage legs are built into them, so it's just a case of gluing that into there, which we'll do now. Again, this part fits really well actually, so okay, the tops of these just pop on there like that and they fit really well, so they should glue from the ends quite happily. Put a tiny bit on there. Okay, at this stage of the build, you basically glue the tail halves together, same with the rudder. However, they're basically glued together like this as a box section, which is quite nice actually. You just plug them together like that. And there's two positions that this can sit in on the finished model. I'll just plug them in and show you what I mean. On the plan it shows you that position where it's down like that is for takeoff and landing, and that's for level flight. So it must be it's something to do with the short takeoff landing properties. Now at the moment I'm not going to glue that in because it's easier to paint it with without that fitted basically, and you can probably just fit it like that when it's finished. You don't have to glue it in if you don't want to, and the rudder just sits in there like that as usual. So that's that bit. So I can glue the rudder in, but I'm not going to do the tail. Okay, at this stage you can fit the different parts for the bomb rack at the back. Model A doesn't have the bomb rack, Model B does, and I'm doing Model B, so that's basically a very simple matter of dropping that piece into there. Okay, I've just dry fitted all the canopy parts. It's interesting this bit. And the rear canopy is dead easy because it doesn't actually fit. You don't glue it on, I don't think, you just sit it there when it's finished. So that's easy enough to do. The front canopy fits really well. They all fit really well. It's all very good. So you can probably paint that separately as well. This is where things get a bit fiddly because this piece is the bit that if it's closed it would sit there, so it slides back over the top. How the pilot would get out of this thing if it's on fire or something, I've no idea. And then this bit, so you've got your side windows, these two side windows here, again fit really well. And this is why that bulkhead, or these two bulkheads, are mega important to get in the right place, because if you don't get these bulkheads right, nothing will fit and the wing wouldn't fit right. So I can see some people having problems with this. There's some little dints on the top of each one of these, each side of that bulkhead there, and there's two there. Now the back ones locate great, and when they go on, when this bit goes on, it has to sit flush with the top of that windscreen there. So for the only way I could get that to happen was when I had to make the holes a little bit bigger in there, and I had to nibble bits off the top of those little spiky bits that stick up. If you don't do that, it sits up like this, because when you put that on, this bit goes over the top of that and sits there, and again the top of the screen fits on top of this part here, and again if you don't do it right it won't. Now what I'm thinking of doing is, when I build this, it's going to be a really difficult thing to paint, really difficult. I have got a mask kit coming now, I found one on eBay, so I'm thinking of fitting this bit onto here and then fitting that bit separately, because obviously you know what clear parts are like, it's gluing them on without making a complete mess of them. So I think I'll paint this bit and fit that bit onto there with some, we're going to be using glue and glaze, which is this stuff. And, any glue near this stuff will just go mental, it'll ruin it. Any extra thin or something like that, I wouldn't recommend it at all. So that goes on there like that. So yeah, fun and games to be had with this part. But yeah, it'll look good if you can do it, but they need masking really well. Now, just a point of note, you may notice I haven't put the seat in at all yet, or the joystick. The joystick I could put in now, but I'm hanging fire on that as well, because I'm thinking you get two seats in the kit. You get one that's got seat belts moulded into it, and you get one that isn't. The one that hasn't got seat belts moulded in is for when you put the pilot in there, which I'm not doing. So I'm going to leave the seat out because you can fit it afterwards, which is good. So I'm going to see if I can find some aftermarket seat belts for it. Okay, these are the wheel spats. Oops. Okay, good news is the lens can be put in afterwards. It'll be fiddly, but it could be done. I'll just do two of these up now. Okay, the Model B has got these bomb racks that fit in there beautifully. Absolute fantastic fit. Just drop a bit of there we go. And they can go onto the model now. Okay, we're at the stage now where I can actually put some primer on. So next job is to paint it. Well, I'm going to mask it, so I'll do the bottom first. So I'll paint the bottom sky. It's only the actual fuselage part that's actually painted. The spats and the wheels and everything are all camoed up. So it's just a strip down the middle down here. It's not much of it really. Okay, that's the bottom painted sky. Quite easy to do. I'll just let that dry for a bit now before I can mask anything off, so I'll leave it at that for a bit. Okay, bottom's masked off. I can spray the dark earth colour as a base first. Okay, we've masked up the green and I've sprayed the green. So it's just a case of laboriously taking it all off again. I'm not going to film it all because it's kind of dull in it. So I'll be back when the tape is off. With all the masking tape from the infill, what I do on a mask, I use thin strips like this. That creates the shape. And then I fill it in with other masking tape. It's quite slow. If you look at the Vulcan bomber I built recently, I did the same job on that. But you get a nice line of mask. So I tend to do that all the time these days. It only works if you do a hard-edged camo, which I think I've looked at a few Lysanders now and they all seem to vary a little bit, but if you look at the modern ones they're a bit fuzzy, but I think the wartime ones probably were kinda like this. I don't know, I prefer. There we are, camoed up, bottom's gone quite nice. Quite happy with that. And I'm going to give it a coat of varnish now just to seal all this lot in. And then, once it's sealed up, I can get the decals on. Then I can take and give it a coat of matte and get it sealed in there. And then I can take the masks off here. And then we can go from there. That's a quick coat of gloss varnish. I used to let that dry overnight actually, and I'll might give it a little tickle just to get the little bobbly bits off it, and then we'll get the decals on this part of the aeroplane. Okay, that's all the decals fitted to the actual fuselage. It's not too bad, it's only taken about a couple of hours to get them on properly and everything. So they were put onto a very light coat of gloss just to make them easier to position really. And the job now is to give this a coat of matte, so that's the next job. Okay, a coat of matte's on there. It's quite happy with that. It looks I don't normally paint models matte. The stuff I've been doing in the past was quite shiny. This one's not going to be shiny, it's going to be weathered. So yeah, the matte's gone down quite well. It's just standard acrylic Tamiya, it's nothing fancy. But yeah, obviously taking all the masks off and everything. So yeah, so far so good. So you do kind of build this model as a modular thing, really. So you've got your wings. Alright, so and then you've got the tail. The tail plane, should I say? I'll zoom out a little bit. So yeah, that can be painted separately, and the wings are as well, and then you've got the struts and the canopy. So they're all like modular bits that you kind of stick on separately, so you don't paint it as a conventional model really. You'd obviously normally paint the model with the wings on, but in this particular case we're not going to do that. So yeah, so far so good, progress has been made. Okay. These are the lights that go in the wheel spats. I'm just gluing these in there, so I've just stuck a good amount of super glue. That's the actual lens part that's fitted now. I need to put the cover over them now. I'll do that with some different kind of glue though. Nearly messed it up, but there you go. When the glue dries it'll go clear, so you won't see the white. Well, let's hope they look alright when it's dry. They should be fine. Well done, Airfix. A good fit those. Yeah, just giving it a coat of Florrie dirt wash. So I'm letting that dry and then we'll give it a go to get it off. Let's hope it comes off. Okay, I'm going to call that done for now. It's quite a lot of weathering for me, is that. It's a combination of Florrie wash and Tamiya paddle liner, and a bit of silver dry brushing, just to kind of accent, bring out the detail and stuff. Quite pleased with it really, it's quite nice. It'll look a lot more kind of in context when you see the rest of the model, of course. Okay, this is the pilot. I thought I'd give this a go. Now, normally he's supposed to be facing forwards with his hands on the controls, etc. But I thought I'd give it another try. I thought if somebody else I know has done this, put a twist in it and have him waving at somebody on the ground, so I thought I'd give that a go. So let's all go painting him up, shall we? Well, first thing I need to do is give him a coat of primer. Start on the lighter colours first, I think. It calls for the trousers to be blue, or what it calls RF blue, whatever that is. Okay, that's blue trousers. I used flat blue for that XF8, but it's got a bit of black in that for something else I was doing. For the face I've used flesh. It's a bit bright, but I'll calm it down anyway. That's XF15. And for the jacket I'm going to use whole red, which is XF9, and the helmet actually. Again, same old routine. Progress. Done the collar and the cuffs on his jacket. We've used both XF57 for that. And yeah, we're getting there. Okay, that's the basic pilot painted. Let's I'm gonna let that dry a bit. I'm going to chuck some panel liner on, see if that improves things a little bit. Okay, that's the pilot. It's taken me quite a while to do that. I've decided to put some proper seat belts on. When you get painted pilots, they never seem to. The seat belts are moulded into the pilot themselves, but they're not attached to anything. So I think it always look a bit daft. So you've got to kind of attach the seat belts as you would if they were floating around on the chair itself or the seat. So I've given it a go with some masking tape. Okay, that's the pilot in place. Quite pleased with that. One of the reasons I've done this, because I don't normally put figures in models, but I didn't know how the seatbelts should go on this particular aircraft, so I kind of had to guess a little bit. But I wanted to give it scale because it just shows how big this aircraft is. I mean, the guy's about 15 foot off the ground or something, or 10 feet off the ground. It's very high up. And I just think it adds a bit of interest to the actual aircraft itself, really. So there you go. And I've just done I can put the control column in now. Joystick, I think is the better way of describing this one. So I've just painted that up so that can go in as well. Now that that's in, I can then add the windscreens and all the screens and stuff. I still haven't decided what to do with the guy at the back though, because I have absolutely no idea how the seatbelt harnesses work on this person at the back at all. I don't know what you'd fasten them to. Just putting them on a stool, I mean, can you imagine sat on a bar stool with a strap over? I mean, that's not going to stop you falling out or falling over, is it? So I don't know. I need to do some research on the guy in the back. But the beauty of that is I can actually add that person in there anytime. I could put it in next year. Do you know what I mean? I can finish the whole thing and I can still put the figure in later. So I'll decide what to do with him later. Okay, I'm just masking up the canopy and the two side windows. That's all I need to fit at the moment. I need to get the side windows on so I can then fit the top of the wing mounting. I got the masks from a chap off eBay called Tom. I'm going to put a link to his Instagram and to his eBay advert. And go look at his Instagram because he's just built one of these as a SEO all black. As a diorama with a spinning prop and everything. It looks really cool. As I say, link in the description of this video. Right, let's get these painted up. I'm going to paint them cockpit green first to give the illusion of the green inside, and then I'll paint the top colour on the outside. I think the front one I can just paint that brown. This will have to be, you don't have to mask them really, but I think that side one's going to be green and this one's going to be green as well, in theory. We'll see how it goes. Canopies are masked up alright and painted, come out really nicely. So now we need to just glue those on there. I don't want to use extra thin because I don't trust it. I'm going to use glue and glaze. I'm not going to glue those on at all. I'm just going to trap them in place. I might put a tiny bit of glue and glaze on the bottom of there, I'll see how it goes. And then I'm going to glue that on top to kind of anchor them into place. Okay, there we go. That's the most difficult part. Well, not difficult, just it wouldn't look right if you got it wrong, but combination of glue and glaze, normal cement, and then some super glue at the front. That's the only bit that holds the wing on. So if that doesn't fit and that doesn't attach well, the wings will fall off. So it's kind of important that bit fits right. But, I think that's okay. So I'm going to put the wheels on now. Okay, we're just building the wheels up. Separate tyres to the wheels, which is quite good. And the wheels come in 2 halves, so you just have an index piece on there for this side of it. So you just stick that in there like that. And then just drop in this sort of glue in here. And you just drop the other half on there. Let that dry, and then we'll weather those up and put them on. Bit more of the flory dark dirt, so we'll put that on there as well. Floor's dried now. I'm not even going to wipe it off because I want to keep these quite dirty actually. I'll just tie me a panel line. I don't think you'll see this side very much, to be fair, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, I've decided to kind of just continue and finish the whole fuselage before I fit the wings and the engine. So this is the armament that goes on there, and the bombs. These are little £20 bombs. I think they're, I don't know, £200 bombs or something. Now this is what they look like when you glue them together. That's the circular fin at the back, which is, in my opinion, way too thick. Well, it is. It's just way too thick. The rest of the bomb's fine though. So what I've done with this one, this is the other one, I've thinned that out quite a lot. I basically filed it out, drilled it out and all sorts of stuff, trimmed it and then made it look a little bit thinner, so you've got your before and after basically. It just looks a bit more realistic, I think. So that's those two, and then you've got the little tiny bomblets, which are these £20 ones. Now again, out of the box they just look like that, they haven't bothered putting a hole in the end, but it should look like that. There's a limit as time which you can do that without it breaking off. So what I've done, I've just drilled out as much as I can and then thinned it, so you can see it. And what I'll do, I'll paint this, it's going to be yellow, but I'll just fill that with black paint, and I think that'll give the illusion of a thinner fin. So that's what I've got to do with all this little lot here. So quite a time consuming little job, but I think it's worth the effort. Right, I'll just trim that down with a blade, gone around it and thinned it down. What I tend to find is if you just use some extra thin when you finish this sort of thing. I use it as liquid sandpaper, I think that's what I call it anyway. It just gets rid of all the little gnarly bits of plastic that you get from chopping things up. It kind of smooths it all out. Let's let that dry, and then there should be something like, there's a little bit of flash I need to get rid of there. But okay, the bombs are all painted up. It took quite a long time to do these. I'm quite happy with them though, they look alright. Yes. I ended up just painting these silver all over, spraying them, painting the yellow and then picking out the silver bits with a brush. Again, time consuming job. I've fitted the ones on the bottom of the fuselage, they're the ones that go on the bottom. Look alright. And I've now fitted the little racks that the bombs fit to. Very tricky to fit because the contact points are quite small, and everything about these weapons or things are quite small really. But it's just a case now of I find super glue as quick as I do this. Really, you're just plugging them into each hole. I'll do that off camera though. And it's the same with all of the bombs. Now, I painted them all up and then I realised I missed one, so I've got one over on the bench that I haven't painted yet. Then I'm going to fit all the bombs now. Okay, that's the bombs fitted. I've got to say that was quite tricky. The contact points for some of the components is so tiny. It's not easy getting them to bond well, so it's basically a little dabs of super glue in there and hope for the best. I think they've gone okay. As I say, I need to fit that bomb that I forgot to paint. I'll fit that at some point. But I know I probably won't. But, okay, I've done as much of the fuselage as I want to do for now, so what I'm going to do is move on to the wings. So I'm giving them a coat of grey primer. They're quite a difficult thing to hold. You can't get hold of them anywhere because this is too fragile to put anything down there to hold it. So just to paint them, I had to paint them in 2 bits. I'm actually going to paint half of it and then hold the other half and then spread the other half. But once I've got the sky on the bottom there, that's not a problem. It's just for the primer really for holding it. So yeah, I've just put some holdy bits on there. So that's the bottoms I'm going to do. Okay, I've painted and masked up all the wings and stuff. So that's they're quite easy to paint. They're just difficult to hold because you can't touch anything on them. They're awkward to kind of deal with while you're working on them. I've got to give them a coat of gloss varnish now. I can't spray that in one go because I can't hold it. As I say, you can't put anything down that edge there because it's too fragile to put anything of any substance down there, I suppose. So I'm not quite sure I'm going to do that yet. I've considered fitting the struts and holding them by the struts, but it's not ideal. I might do that, but I still have to paint part of the struts later, and they just fit in there like that, and they do fit very, very well actually. So it might be a way around it. I might have to just hold them like this when it's set, because as I say, it's a tricky thing to hold. So I've done the leading edge slats as well. I've got the slats open because I think, from what I can gather, that the slats and the flaps are automatic. The pilot doesn't actually do anything with them. They just come in and out at will depending on the speed of the aircraft. I don't know how it works. It must be some sort of mechanical, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I could guess, but I don't know. But the slats are basically going to be out, because on the ground I think they would be. They only retract when the plane gets up to speed. So again, I can probably fit those and paint them in situ, or put a satin coat on them in situ. Sorry, gloss coat, I'm talking rubbish. Been a long day. So yeah, I'll fit those and I'll matte fit the struts and hold them that way. I don't know what colour they should be in here. I think they should be cockpit green in there. I don't know. I might just leave them the colour that they are. So I think they're okay. Cockpit green? Probably. Okay, the wings are fitted. Well, the wings are varnished now. I've got the slats on, flaps are on, everything's on. I did glue the struts on, but I didn't hold them by them because I think it's a bit too fragile. So what I had to do is hold one side, paint one side, let that dry, and then turn it over and spray the other side. Really awkward to hold, as I've said. Anyway, that's done. So the next job with these, I've done the tail of course as well. The next job with these is to get the decals on. Once the decals are on, I'll let them dry and give them a coat of matte, and then we can start weathering things. Okay, decals are on varnished up. It's got matte varnish on there. I'm just giving it a dose of Flory Wash again. Quite liking this stuff. It's quite easy to use. It's supposed to wash off completely if you wanted to, but I find with matte varnishes it tends to soak in a little bit. So it tends to stain it a bit. So I don't mind that. In this particular case I don't mind anyway. I don't want it to look clean at all. Looking at photographs of these aircraft in reality, they were absolutely abused to death. They didn't look very clean at all. If they weren't very clean, they got shot down. Right, so that's that done. I've just got to let that dry now. I've done the tail. You can see the tail's gone all nice, dull and matte and dirty. Okay, the wings are on. Right, I'm going to make a confession here. I didn't glue the wings on here at all. They're quite a good fit because I painted inside the little mounting parts cockpit green, because they've got windows on the top of these wings, and I don't know what they do because you can't see through them from the from the other side. I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's a compromise from Airfix or what. if they're supposed to be transparent on both sides. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I've done. The underside's quite weathered. Probably a bit over the top, to be fair. I might calm it down with some pastels actually. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. It's worked out quite nice. That's basically a combination of Flory wash and then Tamiya panel liner, which I really like now. I used to hate the stuff, but I quite like it now. What I'm doing, I'm just kind of, I've run them down the top of each rib, and it's given that kind of pre-shading effect. So quite pleased with it. And you can keep going back with a cotton bud and just kind of toning it down a little bit. It does stain the paint off because I didn't let the varnish dry too quickly. I did that on purpose because it kind of seeps in a little bit, and it stains it a little bit, and it gives it quite a nice effect. So I'm quite pleased with that. Next job is to do a bit of dry brushing with some silver just on the edgy bits where it'd get some wear. So I'll do that now. For the dry brush, I'm using this. I've had this bottle of metallic Vallejo for forever. It seems to go on forever. It's chrome. And when you do this, tiny bit, I'm talking, there's far too much, so you just need to get rid of most of it because you can build it up. So I'm going to go for these edges here because I think they'll maybe get a bit of wear, but I don't know. You can calm it down with some panel liner again. It takes the edge off it completely. So I'm just going to go over the whole model, or the wings now, with this effect. When it's still wet, you can wipe it off with a bit of water. So I'm not going to film all that because it's quite a laborious task. Okay, welcome back. Right. There are all the parts of the engine, apart from the spinner and the propeller, of course. So all this little lot we need to build. So let's do that. Okay, you've got two options for the cooling vents. You can have them open, or you can have them closed. Well, I'm going to have them open. But I noticed, quite typical of a lot of kits, is these fins should be a lot thinner than that. So I'm going to thin them down, try and make them look a little bit more realistic. So it's just a case of trimming them back, which I suspect will take a little bit of time. Okay, I'm going to throw a picture up of the engine. It gives you an idea. Or engines, there's more than one. I think it's a Bristol Mercury engine. From what I can gather, colour wise, they're kind of a silvery blacky sort of. In this case, it calls it gunmetal. So I think you can paint just about all of this thing after it's assembled. There might be a slight variation on these little exhausty things here, but the first part to build is step 90, which is this bit and that bit. It comes with a propeller hub, which you can put in there, and you don't have to glue it in if you don't want, and then you can have the propeller spinning around, which I'd never do. I don't want the propeller to move really, I'm not bothered. So that can go in there, and then that bit fits onto here, and it has got a key on it, and it's got a flat bottom to it there, and a flat bottom on there. Like so, sorry. So that bit can be glued together now, which I'll do that. Okay, that's the little piece at the back glued on. Then you've got these pieces at the front that go in there. Now these, if you look at a real one, put a picture up now, they've got a hole in those. So they need drilling out, so they look rubbish like that. So I'll do that now. And just get a suitable sharp point. Eyeball the centre. Like so. And find a drill that looks something like. Find a drill. So it's fitted to the engine. I chipped the end off one when I drilled it out, but you can't win them all, can you? I've got a little piece. This is the front cowl. That little piece fits on there like that. Fits quite nice. And then we've got this bit goes inside there. Like so. That all needs painting. I've seen various colours of these as well. I'll throw some pictures for this bit. Some people paint them like a vivid copper colour, which they aren't, basically. They're like I think they almost look like a titanium colour, and then they can kind of go bronzed, a little bit bronzed. So I'm going to do it titanium, and then I'll do a bit of dry brushing with some copper, I think. I'll see how it goes. But okay, that's painted metallic grey actually, so it didn't have any gunmetal. But I think that's near enough. Bit of paddle liner all over it. Always works really well on engines. Okay, the footage might not make a lot of sense at the minute, but I basically did a stage where I was going to fit the cowlings after the engine was fitted, so I didn't have to mask this ring off. But it doesn't work because I tried it, but the problem is these cowlings don't fit very well. Well, they fit okay, but they don't like, just click into place. They've got to be encouraged to fit, and when you're trying to fit them onto the front of the aircraft, it doesn't work. Or I tried it and it didn't work, so I had to take the engine off the front of the aircraft, and I've gone back to the original instructions that Airfix suggests by gluing it all together. So that the painted cowl, or this front nose ring here, is painted. I've masked it off and I've just assembled it all in one piece, and I'm just going to paint it as normal. It does actually make a lot of sense really, because it makes it easier to mask, because when they were flopping about and falling about all over the place, it made it very difficult. So now I need to initially I just need to paint the sky part of the bottom, then mask that off, and then I can start on with the camo. I've put some oil streaks on the bottom of the engine there. I don't know if it would do that. I'm assuming that what would happen is you might get oil dripping down into these vents here, and then when it flies again it'd just blow them out the bottom. But I don't know. Bit of poetic license, I suppose. It looks quite cool, I think. Right, back onto the painting. Okay, that's the engine painted up. Gone quite well, really. It's not fiddly, it's just time consuming as usual with masking. Now what I want to do with that, I'm going to give it as much as there's no decals on this, I want to make sure I get the same reaction to varnishes and washes. So I'm going to give it a gloss coat anyway, just to match the rest of the model, make sure it doesn't react different to matte straight onto there. So I'm going to make a gloss coat first, let that dry, and then I'll give it a matte coat. And I don't mind this being matte as well, because if you look at the pictures they are quite dull. I need to fit the exhaust on there as well, so I'll get that done as well, and I'll have to paint, just touch this in, because I couldn't mask that very easily. Okay, that's the engine done. Quite happy with that. Done the usual treatment, just like the rest of the aircraft. Just a bit of panel liner, some flory wash and some silver highlighting. I'm not sure how realistic that is, but I'm quite happy with it. It's all very grungy as this. It's not like me at all at this, but it's very much weathered, but I think it suits the model. So just need to finish off now. It's pretty much finished really. It's not finished, but just needs the canopy, rest of the canopy finishing off, propeller to put on, then the little twiddly bits like the pitot tube and things like that. I'm not going to put aerials on it. I don't like putting aerials on because when they're on display I tend to break them off, so it won't be getting any antenna wires put on. But other than that, yeah, it's coming on nicely now. Okay, we're on the last stretch now. Just spread the propeller and spinner silver and put yellow tips on. I need to mask those off now and paint this black. The hub's still silver, but I'll have to pick that out in paint, I think. I don't think I can mask that. There's also just like a little hook thing that hangs down. It's underneath the fuselage. It's like a hook for picking things up as it's flying past. I don't know if they've used them or not. And then you've got the gun in the back. Just painted it silver and then picked out the actual gun in black. You couldn't spray that. You could spray one, but you couldn't spray both. So that's going to get tucked inside there anyway, because I'm having the canopy closed at the back. Canopy, just working on masking those at the moment, and then some little twiddly wiry bits sticking on the pitot tube, and then it's done. So once I've got all that done, I shall show you the pictures at the end. Well, I'm calling that done. I'm really happy with it. I've got to say, I've really enjoyed building this one. As a kit goes, I think Airfix has done a really nice job on this one. So I don't often weather models, and I think this particular subject suited that treatment very well. So there we go. I can't criticise it at all, really. There's nothing about the kit that stands out to be bad. I mean, it's got a typical Airfix thing where sometimes things could be a little bit thinner, but it's very easily remedied. All I've done was thin down the little vents on that engine there, drilled a couple of holes in the front of there and thinned out the bomber vents, and that's it. Other than that, the thing is straight out of the box, and yeah, I'm impressed with it. I don't know if I'd have put the bombs on if I was doing it again. I'm not sure I like them or not, but I suppose it adds a bit of colour, but I quite like them without the bombs on, really. I suspect Airfix, if you look at the box contents, there's parts in the box that don't go on this model. So I suspect there's going to be subsequent more releases of different variations of colour scheme on this model as well, coming out at some point. It'll be like a surprise release at some point or something like that. But yeah, I'm happy with that, and I'll put the pictures up now. What I did with the canopy, by the way, I just glued that on with glue and glaze. So the canopies are quite easy to deal with, really. The whole canopy is stuck on with that, and there's no nasty glue that could melt the glass at all. And I mentioned where you can get the masks from, but to be fair, you could mask those off quite easily yourself. They're not difficult to make. It's just a bit quicker to buy some commercially printed ones. I wasn't sure what to do about the pilot in the back, so I just basically closed the canopy, and then that kind of solved that problem for me, really. And I quite like the clean lines of it being closed, and it also means you can glue it on without the thing falling off all the time. So there we go, one Lysander. I'll put some pictures up. There's about, I don't know, I think I've taken about 10 or so still pictures of this, just to try and show it off a bit more, because you can't really see it on here very well, can you? But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm really impressed with that. And it's 48 scale, which isn't my thing, and I'm really warm to it now. This is I'm kind of converted to this scale now for a bit. I'll still do other sizes, but this one is perfect for this subject, I think. And there we go. Thanks for watching.